Alex Karp is the CEO of Palantir.
It was Peter's idea. Peter Thiel, very famous, long-term friend of mine, much better known for being arguably the best inventor in the world, a co-founder of Palantir. And Peter's like, hey, I've got this great idea. We're going to take the back end that we used at PayPal to stop cyber criminals, and we're going to turn it into a product, and we're going to sell it to the intelligence services because obviously they could use the best software in the world. That was rough. That was almost exactly 20 years ago. And the back end was integrating data, and then my idea, in all modesty, was to integrate the data with data protection norms. And that became the engine that powers a lot of the countries in this room on the anti-terrorism side. Our first clients, so we got this investment from Incutel, which has always been controversial. It's a really small investment. Now they're no longer at the DPO. They exited, but it's always been very, if you Google Palantir, you'll see. And if it's a left-wing newspaper, by the way, I'm progressive, and I think the left is wrong to hate on us sometimes because without Palantir, the far right would be in a position of dominance because Palantir single-handedly, with the police forces, stopped major terror attacks. But in any case, you'll read Palantir, CIA-driven data. In German, it's Data Octopus, which is my favorite. It's like as if we're hovering, and none of which is true.
You got some software was sold to the Pentagon and/or CIA.
It was sold. Yeah, the Incutel gave us 3 pilots. One with the FBI, one with the agency, and one with a more classified part of the DoD, because they were struggling with finding out where terrorists were putting improvised explosives, and we figured that out in our product. By the way, and now it's not just American clandestine services. Probably the clandestine service almost if you're in a Western country, it's your country as well, whether they tell you that or not. To make society work, there are basic functions that have to work. One of which is the reduction of terrorism, pushing back on, in my view, human rights abuses largely done by adversaries to the West. We want people who want to be on the side of the West, making the West a better societies, more able to defend themselves, protect data protection, and that's not for everyone. We have a product that is not well known called MetaConstellation, and that product allows you to use algorithms on large data sets to hone in on adversaries over, say, for example, a whole country. And the integration of data the infusion of data from satellite, telephones, other sources, classified sources, and then the disambiguation of that so people only see what they are allowed to see on the battlefield. The Ukrainians, without going into all details, but some of it, they of course went to the most important services in the world and said, okay, what should we use? And I'm very proud to hear they had one answer, Palantir. And then we were asked if we were willing to supply our product philanthropically, basically, for free. And I was very in favor of this because our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior. The product then allowed them, according to this article, to do targeting with a factor of 20 better. The primary heroes here are the actual heroes of the Ukraine, and they're also, I have to say, one of the caveats is they're very, very technical. The people that have used our product there are world-class engineers, but they were also able to train normal engineers, and in their hands, they were able to change the targeting ratio, which, according to David Ignatius, played a big role in changing the course of the war.
Okay, so can the U.S. government get this same kind of software? Does it have it? Can you say that?
The U.S. government has our software.
Okay.
And uses it very aggressively. I mean, look, the role of the U.S. government and the British government and others is somewhat sensitive. Some of it is in this article from Days and Nations, and is not. But it would be remiss not to mention that these governments have played an enormous, effective, and crucial role, not just with our software, but also with our software. We, in America, Western countries, we should learn also from the Ukrainians what actually worked on the battlefield. The great companies in military technology are going to be in Silicon Valley, the Ukraine and Israel.